ทั้งบิงโบ That's my homie ร้องทั้งบิงโบมันที่มา trigger แต่ที่ทาชงเด็กดกดิ้งที่วังนั้นดิกดกชิกชงดิกดกแล้วเชฟก็ฟันน่ะดิThat's your mama. We found the game. If you heard that explosion, we found the fucking game. You do it. You! I'm joking. Grandmother. I'm gonna rape you tonight, man. I'm gonna give you fucking anal. For another fucking taste. Not yet, Lola. It's not yet. Wait.
And this is the same car when it was brand new back in 1949. It's on a family fun day.
I want you, girl.
Nightmare.
You, girl. Why you, girl?
It's amazing that people go back in
They buy an early one, maybe as a pile of parts more than anything else.
I want you, girl.
Trying to get it back to the condition it was in when it left the factory. And it takes some years, but they love it.
The car has become as famously British as some of its drivers. But in the end, this old body can't keep pace with modern safety and pollution laws. And tastes have changed as more people move to cities. It's not an everyday sight.
Honestly thought I'd never drive around here in a serious way.
In a few years, they will call another model Defender, but it will be a totally different car.
It's the start of the next chapter, a next generation of Defender. So, always think it's, time to move on, time to do the right thing. I'm incredibly proud of what the vehicle's done.
For workers on the line, it's time to say goodbye. Richard Westcott, BBC News, Solihull.
There's been a cyber attack on HSBC causing disruption and frustration for customers. Many have been struggling to log on to HSBC's website.
Here.
Simon Gompertz is here. So a cyber attack, what actually happened?
Well, it's the sort of cyber attack where the attacker bombards a website
Lola.
with millions of requests for information
Lola.
to take action.
I know.
It creates such a quantity of
What do you want?
traffic that it would stretch. COVID broke down around 8 o'clock this morning. They spent the day trying to get back up and running, and they said late this afternoon they were still under attack, and there was only a partial service restored. So very frustrating for millions of customers. Today is payday for many. They want to get online to manage their money, make payments, someone to pay their tax bills before they... One thing HSBC has said, no one's money, no one's accounts have been put at risk. It's not the sort of attack that gets right into the bank right now.
better that way.
To provide dignified care. Vicky Jones now works for a firm that only does longer visits. She'd had enough of hectic 15-minute slots in a previous job.
If you're not given time to truly care for someone, it's demoralising for the client themselves, it's demoralising for us because you come away from the job.
What? Not now, wait.
The official guidance, which came out last September whilst research for the report was being done, says visits should be at least half an hour with only a few exceptions. For instance, prompt someone to take their medicine. Councils who buy home care say wider use of short visits is a sign of financial pressure.
And yet we are having reducing budgets, and we have the perfect storm.
The government says councils will have access to an extra £3.5 billion a year for social care by 2020. It also says rushed visits are unacceptable. Alison Holt, BBC News.
The British astronaut Tim Peake wants school children to help him in one of his scientific experiments. He's asking them to plant seeds of rocket leaves that have
The fuck, I can't do this.
Their growth will be compared with normal plants to help researchers develop new varieties of crops that could eventually be grown for food during long space missions. This report from our science correspondent, Roger.
Ever since Tim Peake blasted off, his adventures in space have enthralled us all. Now, from the space station, he's doing it again.
We're going to get a packet of these space seeds when Tim Peake comes back down to Earth. We're going to do some experiments here in school.
He's asking school children to help him with one of his scientific experiments.
Now I'm looking after 2 programs of very special space seeds, which is ready for our special mission, rocket science. Now that these seeds have been on the International Space Station, I'll be packing them up at the end of their mission, sending them back down to Earth. And when they arrive, they'll be sent out to thousands of schools to grow alongside the seeds that haven't been up here in space as part of our special science experiment.
Once they plant the rocket seeds, instead of the stem going up, the stem will go down. And the roots will come up instead. That's what I'm thinking. It's very abstract. I've been watching virtually every broadcast that he's done, and I'm really excited, and my aim is to be like him.
I think it's incredible that all of our schools in all the country are going to be involved in the same for our future.
The pupils at Walton High School in Stafford are among children from 10,000 schools expected to help Tim in his project. The experiment by pupils here could ultimately help scientists develop crops that astronauts could grow on the International Space Station. And in the future, it could enable people to grow their own crops on other planets. Eating on the space station has never been straightforward, but their freeze-dried food will soon make way for fresh fruit and veg.
Tim, it's really cool seeing that Union Jack go outside to explore all over the world. Now it's explored space.
Tim's spacewalk made British school children realise that one day it could be them up there. Even if they don't make it to space, this mission might inspire them to reach for the stars in their own ways.
Good luck.
This is a bit of... What's it called? This is a bit of LOWRIDER Part 2 hype. This is the new adversary game mode, and yeah, this is really fun.
5 sets in the semi-final in Melbourne.
And it's double cash and double RP, so if you're waiting to get one of them new vehicles like this, for example the Sultan, this is your chance to shine.
Yes, and boy, did she produce some strong winds. And it was the Northern Isles, actually, that bore the brunt of Storm Gertrude.
Oh, yeah.
The strongest winds for over 16 years, with gusts in excess of 100 miles an hour. But it was pretty windy with severe gusts across Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Northern England for a time as well. Gertrude starts to move off.
Let's get on.
Draw your attention down to this rain into the southwest and colder conditions and showers arriving in Scotland and Northern Ireland through the night. We've now got an amber warning out for blizzard conditions through the night tonight. We're going to see gusty winds, significant snow showers, even at lower levels, even some hail and some thunder. Further south across Wales and southern England, it's heavy rain through the night, really drifting its way eastwards overnight. About an inch of rain is quite possible. slowly clearing away from the house and corner towards dawn.
Yes. We won. That's my win. That's my bitch. All the girls they love it. My win. That's my bitch.
Slightly milder further south with the clouds and the rain around, but hopefully
10k per fucking day. That's really good.
faintly still a touch of frosting.
Oh, we just got 20k from that. I just double everything.
And fill the width of some snow showers, even at lower levels, first thing in the morning across Northern Ireland.
If you are liking the stream, hit that follow button or like the stream. That will be graciously appreciated. Let's jump off like motherfucker.
It is going to be a cold day generally tomorrow. 4 degrees to the north, 9 degrees down to the south, and then it's all but wet weather the second half of the weekend. That's just the news, thank you.
A reminder of our main story this evening. A 26-year-old mother has become the first British woman to be convicted of joining so-called Islamic State after she took her toddler to Syria. That's all from us. Now on BBC One, we join the BBC's news teams.
Tonight on BBC London News, a fare freeze for 4 years, but has Labour's mayoral candidate Sadiq Khan got his sums wrong, and how much could it really cost? Also tonight.
This whole thing is like complex, it's all political.
Fresh controversy over the Garden Bridge. Boris Johnson's accused of showing contempt for the rules.
I think the fact that Boris Johnson was in San Francisco with one of the potential designers who then went on to win it looks incredibly dodgy. There wasn't a level playing field here.
London's world-renowned for its vibrant cultural scene, so should the people who make it happen be helped to get cheaper housing? Andy Murray is still winning in Australia, so what's his mum doing in London? And our surprise for the busker who went viral after an impromptu duet with a hip-hop star. Good evening and welcome to the programme with me, Alice Bandukragi. It's the key electoral pledge of Labour's candidate for mayor to keep fares on buses and tubes frozen for 4 years. But today, Transport for London contradicted Sadiq Khan's costings, saying that his budget fails to take account of the increase in passengers that Crossrail will bring. Mr Khan estimates freezing fares will cost £450 million, but TfL says the real cost could be more like £1.9 billion. Our transport correspondent Tom Edwards has the story.
He says he'll freeze fares, which many commuters would welcome.
What fares freeze? Happy New Year.
But perhaps not Transport for London. It gets £4 billion a year from fares that at the moment go up pegged to inflation. Freezing fares would see Transport for London's income drop and a funding gap for current plans. Labour says its policy would cost £450 million over 4 years, but Transport for London estimates it'll be much higher, at £1.9 billion. And TfL officials say they think Labour haven't taken into account Crossrail, which will bring more passengers and more money.
Quite shame this. I've not misunderstood Crossrail. Unlike any other candidate, I've actually got experience of being a minister in France, but I was the minister for Crossrail. It's really important that we use those revenue streams sensibly.
And TfL is saying you're not. TfL is saying that's why they are saying you're going to cost £1.9 billion, because you haven't thought of those.
To be fair, they're not saying that. You know that
Let's go look at some of your comments, guys.
And what I'm saying is this: my fares freeze is fully funded. We're going to make sure that we make the savings this mayor's not made. We're also going to increase revenue stream.
But today, TfL were at...
Wait, Joshua, why were you in trouble in the LSC today? I know you banged up Josiah. Murray's excluded on me as well.
Zach Goldsmith, who's looking to replace him, hinted at something similar. As yet, though, he hasn't outlined his policy.
The absolute priority is protecting TfL investment.
TfL funding from government is already being cut by £2.8 billion by 2020. It's also making efficiencies and becoming more commercial. Those plans would have to be accelerated.
Experts say
Nicola,
TfL is
smash
confident enough to lobby for its budget. If you ask a simple question, could they stand a fair treat? The answer is yes. Would that mean, on the other hand, there was less money going into the system against which TfL could have borrowed in order, for example, to build the Bakerloo line extension? Well, that money wouldn't be there. So, there will be less money in the system. There are big changes ahead.
Murray was banned in the LSE, got excluded, and I told, because she did that for no reason, I told Miss to shut her fucking mouth, to Cindy.
You can see the full interview with
No shit, but she's not, sorry.
On Sunday, Politics London.
Because she's very discombobulated.
Now, bridges are supposed to connect people, but the proposed garden bridge across the Thames is continuing to divide public opinion. New details emerged today about the relationship between Mayor Boris Johnson and the bridge's architect, Thomas Heatherwick. It's led to critics of the £175 million project calling the bidding process a stitch-up. Our political correspondent Carl Mercer has the story.
Ever since the contract for the Garden Bridge was won by designer Thomas Heatherwick, questions have been asked about the way the contract was awarded. They're questions the Mayor has always batted away, and pretty forcefully.
Political opponents of the truth. If this whole thing is very obvious. No, it's all political. Especially in this year, it's political. You just cannot bear the idea that their project is going ahead.
That's not the idea, Mr. Mayor, that you want to work with
ultimately.
Today, though, the Mayor has admitted he took Mr. Heatherwick to a meeting with Apple in America 3 years ago, just 10 days before 3 firms, including Mr. Heatherwick's, were invited to tender for the project. City Hall couldn't find us anyone to interview today, but did confirm that the Mayor was indeed in San Francisco to meet Apple back in February 2013. Their statement says that Thomas Heatherwick was also in California to meet a separate commitment with Apple. It says that given that he had already expressed an interest in creating the Garden Bridge, the Mayor invited him to join the meeting and outline his ideas. The Mayor and his Chief of Staff, Eddie Lister, had flown to San Francisco for the meeting, their airfare topping £4,000 each. The Deputy Mayor for Transport, Isabel Dedring, also flew out. Her airfare, though, £375.
Well, Boris Johnson was desperate to avoid having to tell us that Thomas Heatherwick was with him on the trip to San Francisco. And let's remember this is a trip that was paid for by taxpayers. Now, the reason why he was so reluctant to tell us is because he was out there drumming up funds for a project which hadn't even been signed off yet and put out to tender with a designer who later went on to win that tendering.
City Hall insists the deal was done properly and say the bridge will open in 2018. At this rate,
one more round, and really.
A former star of the programme Dragon's Den has been cleared of child sex offences. 57-year-old Doug Richards contacted the 13-year-old girl through a sugar daddy website. He admitted having sex with her, but told the court he believed she was 17. He was found not guilty of all 5 charges. Who deserves to get extra help to secure somewhere affordable to live? When we talk about key workers, many people think of teachers or nurses, and perhaps neglect the actors, museum staff or others working in London's creative sector. But according to a leading academic, it's now time that we embrace a broader view of who's important for the capital's economy. Sarah Harris reports.
Working 4 different jobs to keep a roof over her head in London, theatre producer and writer Lauren Mooney only sees the capital as her temporary home, and she says among her colleagues in the arts, she's not the only one.
Everything you earn, you spend, you can't save anything, there's no permanent, you can't settle really, you get moved on from your career. Because, people I know that have lived there 7 years and been priced out steadily every year where they live.
At the think tank Centre for London, academic Ben Rogers believes there is a real exodus of creative talent, and it will eventually damage this city.
All the evidence is that London is becoming so expensive that they are leaving, and they're looking to go to other parts of the UK, which might be good for those cities, for Manchester or Glasgow or Bristol or whatever. They're also going to Barcelona, to Berlin, or other cities to stay. And I think it is a real danger that London will lose its balance.
Sarah, can you feel the scene of it?
In Soho, one housing charity is...
Yo, this is gonna get you better money, man.
They've changed their definition
Thanks, Rockstar.
of key workers to include writers and artists, They're eligible to rent this flat for around £200 per week.
We're taking as many people from the creative industries and from culture as we are from the NHS and from those more typical sectors. So we don't have any hard and fast rules. We don't insist on any kind of specific allocation. We'll allocate the units based on the merits of the individual case. But we're just beginning to see that it's people in these sectors who are in the more acute housing need now.
But not everyone believes intervention will solve the problem of affordability for everyone.
Of course, by helping one group of people, inevitably in a constrained market, you've also got trade-offs, and other people who are not able to help will be further down the housing ladder as a result.
Lauren will keep slogging away, but accepts the cost of London housing will soon force her to take her creative talents elsewhere. Sarah Harris, BBC London.
Still to come. Andy Murray is through to the Australian Open final. His brother Jamie's in the finals of the doubles. But their mum Judy is here at the National Tennis Centre in London to talk about everything Fed Cup. And how Fat Man Scoop surprised one London busker for a second time. Now, it's been estimated that around 130,000 women in Britain have been subjected to female genital mutilation, or FGM. Last year, the government brought in new measures to strengthen the legislation. Figures revealed by The Times this week suggested that fewer than 38 girls have been saved by the new rules. Now, Arafat Nassim, an 18-year-old from Walthamstow who's representing the United Nations, has called for more action, and she joins me now here in the studio. Welcome to the programme. The new legislation brought in last year meant that teachers and healthcare professionals had to report this when it was happening, but not many people are being prosecuted. What do you think is going on?
I think the problem is that
the mom's discombobulated.
Because they're not sure exactly what they're looking for. They've had this mandatory
discombobulated.
The training to supplement it. And I'm here today representing Youth for Change, which is a global movement. We're based in 3 other countries, but I'm part of the UK panel. And we're 8 young people that are so passionate about these issues, forced marriage and FGM.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know you fucking bitch. You know you fucking bitch. Yeah. Come in my mouth. That's what your mommy said.
To protect, and it's all about making sure that there is a minimum safeguarding
Yeah, it is populated, mom. Okay, I understand. Fucking hell.
Professionals spot the signs they don't.
You okay? Discombobulated. No. Stop moving, you dumb motherfucker. Don't leave it, you dumb motherfucker. Yeah?